I'm always looking for different perspectives and takes on horror. And the book we're going to talk about today is told from the perspective of a completely deaf person. And it's a horror book. It's called Apparitions by Adam Pottle. And this book is one that I think will stick with me for some time. It is sadly beautiful. There's moments of light and there's a lot of darkness, and it's very disturbing. It follows the story of this kid, and he basically all he's really known most of his life is violence from his father's hand. When he was very young, he was taken from his mother, and his dad took him and threw him down in this basement room and basically treated him like an animal. He had a bucket in his room that he had to use for the bathroom, and a mattress on the floor, and that was about it. And there was a bunch of like random dudes that were at this house where his dad was. That this whole time, like, he doesn't know how to communicate. Like, he doesn't have sign language. He doesn't have language, and he can't hear, so he only feels vibrations and the ways that he looks at stuff and his perspective. And at some point, one of his father's men gives him this book of monsters. This is like his only thing in the world, and these monsters kind of become his weird friends in a way, and he ends up drawing them all over the walls and such. And there's a part too when he's still at his father's, trapped in this basement, and there's a spider that's down there. Sometimes he pokes at it or whatever. There's a point in it where he gets so angry he kills the spider, and it was so sad because like that was almost like his only friend in there. And just it's such an emotional and tumultuous and turmoil-filled story, but it's so good. So eventually he breaks free from his father's home under some very disturbing situation. Something happens and he's able to just run away. And eventually he ends up winding up in this asylum. And at the asylum, at first, these people don't even realize he's deaf. I'm pretty sure they totally misdiagnose him, and they don't understand why he's not communicative. But eventually he meets this other deaf teen named Felix. Felix gives him language, like freeing him from his inner prison. And, in this, there are moments of joy, and he's never experienced love, and he finds some pieces of what love could be, but everything kind of takes a dark turn because at some point, like, Felix is what they consider schizophrenic, or at least they diagnosed him as that. Who knows if he actually is? At some point, he gets this whole, like, weird kind of Jesus complex and wants this person that doesn't have a name to be his apostle, and stuff gets a bit more disturbing again and takes a very dark twist towards the end. And I had never read anything that came from a perspective like this, and it just kind of opens your eyes more to it. And just so many pieces of this are so heartbreaking, and then you get these like little like flickers of light, and you're just like, oh. And this sadness of this kid just being trapped inside himself for so long and experiencing all this violence and hatred and just evil at his father's hands, finally finding a friend and this like escape from his inner prison. But to have the friend be manipulative and take him down this dark path that leads to a bad end once again. So, but the ending though, oh man, I can't really say too much, but I cannot really say enough about this book. I love a book that makes me feel something so intensely and so emotionally, and just, opens your eyes to a new perspective. And Apparitions by Adam Pottle is absolutely fantastic. The author himself is also deaf, and I think that's why he gets such a great perspective and like just really shows it through his eyes, just how the character interacts and like the stuff and challenges that he faces and how society treats them. And there's this one quote in here that like, it's like, oh, my heart, because they're in an asylum, right? And at one point, the kid who's experienced all this, after he's learned sign language, he signs, why are we here? I don't know how to do sign language, sorry. I talk with my hands regardless. And his friend Felix goes, everyone is here because they're more truthful and more beautiful than the world can handle. And I was like, oh, this is my heart, dude. It's fantastic. Read this book. It'll rip your heart out, but it's so good. I cannot recommend it enough. I will have a link down to this below, and you can also snag an extra 10% off if you use my affiliate code SimplySin10. If you are a fan of indie horror, the next video coming up will be another indie horror, so stick around, check it out. And if you had fun hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.